I've recently been tired of playing the same game under different names over and over and over again, going from one place to another to beat a boss that will ultimately lead to another pointless quest of going from one place to another to beat the ultimate boss. I wanted something a bit more, something with substance, a beautiful story, great graphics, and maybe something that involves a little head scratching. So I started to look around to see what was available on the PlayStation Store. I came across Stray, and let me tell you, it was perfect for what I was looking for. Sorry if that was a bit cringe, just had to put it in there. But it was like a fusion of Untitled Goose Game and The Last Guardian, and it was also not expensive when it was first released. The game was developed by Blue 12 Studio and is an adventure game with a third-person perspective.
But a little bit around the actual game without trying to spoil anything if you do try it. You are essentially playing as this stray cat in a cyberpunk themed world with robots that have never seen a cat before but are still compelled to pet you. You also have this little drone called B12 that accompanies you and basically translates between you and the robots, and together you solve a whole bunch of puzzles and challenges. The story around the cat is quite fascinating, which makes you want to explore the world more. Now, this doesn't have an open map, but the game does allow you to do some level of exploring and collecting items without a lot of filler content. Collecting these items as well is quite an adventure, as it's like you're following clues and leads, which helps you to understand the world you've entered just a little bit more. The cat's story itself is also quite simple, but being this character allows you to do things that a human-sized character cannot do, like finding different ways of hiding and sneaking around enemies. You can also play as a regular cat by shoving things off shelves, having a nap, and scratching at doors, and just generally being a little bit cheeky. The game also has a dedicated meow button, which can be quite fun. And even though the controls are quite fun, you do learn to actually use them to achieve certain objectives. It was also great using the Ps5 controls, as you can feel the feedback and it provides that extra layer of charm to the game. In terms of the actual controls, it wasn't difficult to use at all, but it could be a bit stiff here and there when you're jumping from one platform to another, but it doesn't really bring down the score of the game in my opinion. Other than that, it was a relatively smooth experience to play. The game is also visually stunning with some impressive rooftop views and neon lighting whilst the cat is roaming around a dull looking sort of town, but not so dull that it's uninteresting to walk around and explore. If you like a cyberpunk style game, this is definitely one of those. The enemies are quite interesting as well. So for example, the ruins are filled with zerks that are basically mutated bacteria. They feed on organic life and the robots, so the robots are quite scared of these. You don't have to run away from these enemies, you do have to run away from these enemies, sneak around and fight, but this can be quite interesting as you generally have to think on the spot to try and escape them, and this is where your puzzle solving abilities can also come into play. But this wasn't anything too hard, and so I'll still class this as a cozy game that can complete in 5 to 7 hours. I do have the gameplay uploaded on this channel if you do want to check that out. I played some of the game when I just wanted something to do because I couldn't fall asleep till like 7 a.m. So it's not difficult to complete at all. It's one of those where you do just sit back, relax, play and enjoy the story. The game also keeps things quite fresh in terms of going to different environments and using weapons, for example, at some points. So I never found myself bored when playing the game. You are also constantly using previous mechanics learnt that were originally sort of gimmicky at the beginning to now being a bit more useful when puzzle solving, which I liked personally. Even though it was a single player game, I reckon it would be great to play with your partners or your friends too, as it is something you could just sit there and watch and help to solve the puzzles, and even take it in turns if you do want to. As I said before, for a majority of the game, you are accompanied by a drone called B12, who's also quite cute, and the relationship and bond that they form is quite strong from the very get-go of them meeting. The story is mostly based around B12 rather than the cat in my opinion, but they are essentially working together with common interests. It's quite good to have B12 around, as it does add further elements of dialogue which allows you to learn more about the mysterious town and its inhabitants. This includes the more dangerous characters in the game like the Zerks and Sentinels. B12 also provides more context around the actual world itself and how it came to be how it is. There are many other characters that you do interact with on the way and build other strong bonds and come across other sort of puzzles. So it is quite refreshing, as I said before, even with the environment always changing. You learn throughout the game more about the robot community and how it is that the world was created. The ending itself as well was a little emotional, where it was such a short game and you've built these bonds with these characters, and this emotion has also been portrayed very well, even though there are no words coming from the stray cat. So would I recommend the game? Yes, I definitely would. It was visually stunning, you felt like you're on an adventure, and it felt like a cozy little puzzle game. I don't want to go into the plot of the game in this video, as I think it would ruin the story, which needs to be discovered by yourselves and actually playing both the Stray Cat and B12. When I finished playing the game, I did actually have some other questions about the world itself, but maybe they'll make another follow-up game. Probably not. But it was definitely a game that I would recommend. I do hope that some of these clips and me talking about the overall game has been helpful. I do have gameplay of Stray on this channel if you do want to check it out, but otherwise please like, comment and subscribe and let me know your thoughts, and also your thoughts on the game if you do get a chance to play it. Thank you for watching.